Hello Crushers and welcome to my staging guide. This guide is accurate and relevant as of March 2022, but is likely to maintain relevance for several years, similar to how my previous staging guide is still largely relevant. In recognition of all the changes that took place primarily in 2021, it is now time to revisit this topic and bring you the most up-to-date strategies to help you thrive and crush them all staging. We're going to start with an overview explanation to help newer players. This explanation is quite simple. When starting out, you need only 5 heroes for staging, 1 for each element. Out of those, the best for most new players will be Luca, the very hero you start with, for water staging, Voodoo Dagger and then Pinky for earth staging, Monkey King or Zack for fire staging, Light Knight, One Eye, and then Hikari for light staging, and finally Kasume for dark staging. These are the best options for new players for their ability to destroy the staging crystal as quickly as possible. Some heroes like Kasume do this through teleporting to enhance their own raw speed, whereas other heroes like Pinky do this just strictly through raw speed. In general, these heroes are solid and will get you through the hurdles of staging without issue. And technically speaking, you never need to change from these heroes if you don't want to change them. With that said, the best option from day one is to use only Luca, until you reach the point where you must use an earth hero. Then add earth and only earth until you need a fire hero to advance and so on. This is the most efficient way to start out and a very straightforward step to follow. Another helpful hint is that you can click or tap on the side of the staging screen to immediately snap focus to the crystal on that side. It works for both crystals and can allow you to do ultimate attacks faster if you're doing what is referenced as ultimate staging or active staging. Next, we're going to discuss staggering your prisms. This sounds intimidating, but it really isn't. In order to beat a stage, you basically need either gold levels or prism levels. Each level more or less equates to a staging level. But for the sake of simplicity, we're going to disregard gold levels earned through staging, and I'll explain the concept like this. With no gold levels at all, you'd essentially need 600 prism levels on Luca to be able to beat the stage 600 boss, which is elementally locked to water, meaning only a water hero can kill that boss. Likewise, the stage 700 boss is elementally locked to earth, so guess how many prism levels your earth hero needs? That's right, 700 prism levels. This is what prism staggering means. Your fire hero would need 800 prism levels, your light hero would need 900 prism levels, and your dark hero would need 1000 prism levels. Then when you get to stage 1100, you'll realize that the boss is elementally locked to water. So once again, you'll need to increase prism levels on your Luca. Take him to 1100 and you can clear the boss with no issue and start the pattern over. So it's really simple when looking at it this way, and I encourage you to reference the chart near the end of this video that I've put together that adds a visual component to everything I just covered. The slightly complicated aspect to prism staggering is factoring in gold levels, but let's just simplify that too with a trick I have. Let's say that when I max my village, I can put 900 gold levels on my heroes. To figuring out my staging stuff, I just skip to my second round of prisms necessary. Recall how the stage 1100 Luca needed 1100 prism levels to beat that boss? Well, 900 gold levels plus 200 prism levels equals the 1100 necessary to clear that level 1100 boss. And I can simply apply that easy logic across the board. The 1200 boss will need an earth hero with a total of 1200, so I can put 300 prism levels with my 900 gold levels to equal 1200 total levels and clear that boss. Quite a simple solution. Now you might be thinking to yourself, but Young, do factors like hero stars and abilities matter? And I'll tell you right now, the short answer is that for staging, not really. Stars and abilities matter a lot more for PvP modes like Arena than they do for staging. A full gold star is more or less equivalent to 15 stages. And yes, I'm aware that that matters when you have all of your heroes maxed, and runes and abilities and whatnot. However, it ultimately has so little impact, especially early on, that you shouldn't even be concerned about it. However, if you want to min-max, then I would recommend getting very acquainted with this little box here. If you click and hold on this box, it will give you a glimpse at your current bottleneck and what is necessary to break that threshold. For example, my current bottleneck is my light staging hero, and I need another 333 levels on that hero to break that threshold. Then it'll update and tell me what more I need to progress further from that point. You are able to do that from the very beginning if you are invested in spending your time being as efficient as possible. Also, leaving your game running, even with the screensaver up, is always faster than offline staging. I will stress again, neither of these are necessary to do if you don't want to. Now we can move on to what happens next. Let's say you're following either the simple or complex variants of this guide as mentioned just now, and you've been doing that for a while. You've got lots of strong heroes, and you've heard of other staging teams that are better. This is the time to look at 2 heroes specifically and decide if you're ready for a transition. We're going to look at Hikari, and we're going to look at Dark Wolf. If Hikari is at 6 stars or higher, and if Dark Wolf is at 7 stars or higher, then the respective buffs and debuffs they offer is enough to transition to what we call the AoE Gunner staging team. This is exactly as the name implies. This team utilizes AoE gunners to clear stages. Dark Wolf is admittedly slower than anything else on your team, but his enemy move speed debuff keeps enemies grouped around the enemy crystal, while Hikari's move speed buff gets your team to striking distance fast. For your other 3 elemental staging heroes, you'll need a water AoE gunner. I use Namada, but Parato could also be used just as effectively here. For your earth AoE gunner, I'll recommend Misty. And finally, for your fire AoE gunner, I recommend Scud. Even though there are light and dark elemental AoE gunners, I do not recommend using them. I also don't recommend running 7 heroes to run all gunners and buff debuffers, because when those 2 heroes in place for their buff spawn first, it slows down staging overall. This impacts you over thousands of stages cleared, and more impactful detrimentally over time. Mithras has pointed out that alternative star levels for Hikari and Dark Wolf would be a 4-star Hikari and an 8-star Dark Wolf, which can clear stages faster than most rogue builds, so that may be a viable option to transition to AoE Gunner sooner too. Next, we need to discuss the why of staging. Namely, why is staging important? Staging is important firstly because you earn prisms which are necessary to get higher levels of daily dungeons unlocked and cleared. This is especially important for getting dungeon level 16 unlocked, as this gives you a second common medal permanently unlocked until you max all common heroes of that element, making maxing a dungeon pool much easier. Secondly, more prisms increase your player level, which increases your crystal HP in all relevant modes, and also gives you orbs for the personal player library, which are extremely important for basically everything in the game. I do cover player library information in another video. I've linked in the description below this video, and I recommend checking that video out when you finish watching this one for more information there. Thirdly, by focusing on these previously mentioned areas, this will help you improve your artifacts, which in turn allows you to perform better in guild raid events, yielding better rewards not just for you, but for your whole guild as well. But that's not all. The fourth, and arguably most important at this time aspect of staging, is the ability to spin the Ascension Wheel. Spinning the Ascension Wheel allows you to get a reward that scales based on your maximum staging level, and has the newly introduced prismatic shards to be used in the Paragon system, not to mention rune chest, rune dust, time skips for various things and more. The Ascension Wheel rewards has made staging both fun and relevant again. It has also pushed forward the importance of the Fast Lane and Mini Fast Lane Flues packs, which are the best investment of Flues in my opinion at this time. Both the packs are basically the same, but the Mini Fast Lane gives you a little more for the Flues spent, so it's my personal preference for my own Flues spending. Mr. Moogle did stress that these packs are important after completely maxing out dark and potentially fire dungeons first. So prior to Fastlane packs, taking the Flues offers, including daily dungeon tickets, is likely the most efficient route for newer players. Then transitioning spending to the Fastlane packs from there, once dark dungeons medals are all maxed. This allows us to transition to our next subject, which is efficiency in staging. This is very important, as being able to ascend faster, especially during ×2 Prism events, is pivotal to how many rewards you can earn and how many stages you can clear. The fastest method by far is the no gold method. This means that you have enough prisms on your heroes to meet your max stage with 0 gold invested. This isn't a reality for most players, myself included, but going with this strategy would either cap you 600 to 1200 stages short of your potential, thus garnering lower rewards, or if you're the other end of the spectrum, it is because you're so good at staging that you've over-prismed all of your heroes to hit the max stage of 14,000, meaning you've got enough prisms that you have all of your staging heroes at 14,000 prism levels. Now, if you've got them to that level, that means that you're at the current max stage of 14,000, so you can get that without spending any gold. If you're like me though, you'll ascend, click on your heroes tab, click upgrade all if you're at least VIP 4, then time skip as appropriate to hit your max stage. The non-gold strategy allows you to completely skip the clicking on your heroes and clicking upgrade all, meaning for someone set up for non-gold, you could just do relevant time skips and then immediately ascend again. The final strategy is to fully upgrade your village and put as many consistent gold levels on your heroes as possible. For me, this would float me about 1,140 gold levels consistently. This is the slowest, and you'll lag behind if you go for the strategy ultimately, but if you have the time to commit, this would ultimately yield the best end results for a min-max player. There is some room between fully maxing the village and not investing into it. Mr. Moogle runs his own village to Castle Builder, then does his time skip and ascend. It's a bit faster than fully maxing out the village, but close to potential max gold rewards. This is also a good time to mention that saving consumables for usage during ×2 Prism events is the best practice. Save time skips, ×2 Prism items, Princess Dreams, and ×3 speed for non-hitters. All of these should be saved for the ×2 Prism events. In addition to this, the Undead Samurai artifacts as well as the personal player library have options to increase game speed, which drastically increases staging speed as well. Other artifacts allow for the skipping of stages easier, completion of more stages automatically when ascended, and so on. Look through all of the artifacts and prioritizing what you need at the very least during ×2 Prism events to squeeze the most out of them as you can. As I wrap up today's video, I'd like first post the previously mentioned graph. Feel free to pause it here and return to this video as necessary for the content covered today. I'd like to thank several Discord users who helped contribute to the content covered, namely I'd like to thank Mithras, Madwad, and Mr. Moogle. I'd also like to thank users such as yourself, who watch my videos and encourage me to continue making content. Your contributions are more appreciated than you know. If you'd like to support this channel in other ways, there are several things you can do. Comments, likes, and subscribing are great ways to show your support. You can also show your support financially by contributing to my Patreon. The link to becoming a patron of this YouTube channel is in the description below this video as well. That's all the time we have for today, and I appreciate you watching this video through to the very end. Thanks for watching.